Hello and welcome to Carly Talks Music. This is a weekly video blog where I talk about something musical for the week. And this video, let me tell you, is a long time coming. Those that know me know that I play the viola, and I've played the viola over 10 years now. I've taken private lessons for about that long, about 10 years as well. And there are just some things I feel like need clarification because, I don't know, I guess as a viola player, I don't mind having to explain differences between the violin and the viola, but like if you can already know them before you meet a violist or talk to a violist, you're gonna make that violist way happy. I know that violists are, not a mass population in the world, but we're out there. We're here. I'm here. Some of you are out there somewhere. I know. Okay, so I'm just going to sit here this entire video with my viola. So in case anyone forgets what I'm talking about, you'll know. So, like I said, okay, this is my viola. It actually has a name, named Wolfgang, after, could you guess, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. But that's also because it has a wolf tone, and that's why there's this little thingy. And if you don't know what a wolf tone is, Google it! So first let's talk about physical differences between the viola versus other instruments, because this is the hard part. So people say, they ask, oh, what do you play? And I say, oh, I play the viola. Amongst other instruments, guitar, this, that, and the other. But like viola is the instrument I've been playing for the longest time out of all of those instruments. And they'll say, oh, it's a big violin. And I'm like, that's like an internal not mental breakdown, but like explosion. Like in cartoons where someone's like really angry and then there's like a shift scene to like a mushroom cloud. That's what happens in my brain. And it's like I don't get mad outwardly because, they probably don't know. So why would I get mad for someone not knowing something? But at the same time, like, oh, who is telling people that a viola is a big violin? Okay, anyways. By sight, sure. If I put a violin next to this would be what looks like a bigger version of it. Looks with your eyes, with your sight. That's the only way you can call a viola or a cello or even a bass a big violin, is if you're only talking about what you see. Because what you hear, and if you called it just a big violin, I feel bad for you because you're missing out on all these different types of sounds that these different instruments can make, and even though they look very similar but they're different sizes, they make way different sounds. So let's talk about how the viola sounds in comparison. So the viola, just like other string instruments, has 4 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the note names, for anyone that cares, highest one, A, D, G, C. On a violin, you have these 3 similar strings, the 3 higher strings, and then you also have the really high string of an E string, which basically if you like go look at a violin up close, the E string is like this teeny piece of wire, and it freaks me the fuck out, to be quite honest. Like whenever people are tuning their E strings, it gives me anxiety. It just gives me anxiety. So when it comes to how the viola sounds in comparison to other string instruments, especially the violin, I feel like everybody knows a violin sound. That's just, it is what it is. That's okay. That's okay. But a viola, while it looks, like I said, it looks like a big violin, it sounds like a viola. It sounds like a viola. And let me tell you why. Viola has more of a rich, deep, hollow tone. And that's like what I really look for when I look for an instrument. Like when I was buying this instrument, I played on it so much until I was like, that's really the sound I want. in comparison to the old instrument I had. So yeah, that hollow, deep, like ominous sound is a viola sound. And especially because it has this low C string, when there's like a long melodic passage on the C string, it is one of the most beautiful things ever, ever, ever. So also what I'm going to do for you guys is put some links to violin concertos and viola concertos. And I want you to really listen, if you have the time to really go and listen to these, just listen to how the viola sounds and what it can do versus what the violin can do. Because they both have their strengths. And, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? Like when I was picking an instrument in the 6th grade, I didn't want to play the violin because of the high squeaky E string. And I was like, that's not what I want. And to this day, high-pitched sounds are like, I'm really sensitive to them. So I'm an alto, I'm a viola, I'm just like everything through and through. Also, okay, another thing that you should know about violists. Violists are pretty much the only ones that read alto clef, which, if you know it, there's a treble clef and a bass clef on the piano staff. And alto looks like a big B, and all of my music friends at school they would always get pissed when they had to read alto clef. And I'm like, guys, middle C is the middle line. Come on. And they were having none of it. Just like, fuck alto clef. I'm like, fuck you guys. I am seriously that token violist. Whenever anyone talks about anything viola, I always get a head turned towards me like, oh shit, what's she gonna say? Because I do have lots of shit to say about the viola, obviously. I'm making a freaking video out of it. Alright, so next thing that's part of my viola angst is viola jokes. For what it's worth, viola jokes, especially if you get them as a kid, they give you some tough skin as a violist when you're older. So thanks all of those, stupid jokes. Like, what's a good one? Oh, what's the definition of perfect pitch? Throwing a viola into the dumpster without hitting the rim. What's the difference between a viola and a trampoline? You take your shoes off to jump on the trampoline. And my favorite that I heard from somebody, not that I read, because eventually I went and read viola jokes. I'm like, okay, well, you can kind of substitute any instrument in here if you really wanted to. But the one that I heard when I was young that has always stuck with me is, they say, do you know that violists can park in handicapped parking spaces? I'm like, excuse me? It's like, yeah, just put your viola on the dashboard. It's the same as, the little handicap sticker. Perdóname, excuse you, right? Right. Anyway, I've heard them all. So if you want to throw them at anybody, any viola jokes, throw them at me, because you'll get this face. That's what you're gonna get. So like I said, this video was a long time coming. Thanks for listening and understanding. Maybe now you know what violists feel more, because like I said, we're always the butt of the joke, but we know, I know, I'm pretty sure other violists know, that you guys would miss us and your orchestra would suck without us. So let's be real. You love us. We're just like the weird family member, I guess. The like black sheep of the family. The violas. So again, thank you so much for listening to my angsty video. This was a lot of fun to make. I feel like I needed to get a lot of this shit off my chest. I feel better now. I do. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening.